Welcome to the podcast series on starting a small business from mybusinessclub.biz. Common mistakes made by small business owners. Well, we're winding down to the end of this short course, but we still need to go over a few things. Today, I want to share with you some common mistakes that small business owners make so you can avoid making them yourself. When first starting your small business, you may not realize that there are mistakes that you make at different stages of your business's growth that can slowly kill it for months or even years if you don't watch out for them. These mistakes are not just restricted to the new business owners. Many operating businesses, including those you may think are successful because they've been around for 10 years, are often still making them and are most likely losing a lot of money and or wasting a lot of time in the process. Although some of these mistakes seem aimed more at service type companies, they really do fit the bill for almost any type of business. Let's go over a few examples that you can use for future reference. Underestimating project or service time is a big one. This relates to service companies as well as companies that sell a product. This is a service company's bread and butter. If you don't estimate the time and effort required to perform each service your business offers, you will lose out and there is little you can do about it except learn from it. The best way to estimate time required to do the job is to do it once yourself or watch your best employee perform the task, then determine the appropriate fees that you should charge for the service. Not knowing your company numbers and setting prices too low. Notice I emphasize the word your. It is a common mistake to use a competitor's fees as your pricing gauge without actually knowing why they use those numbers. Consider for a minute what will happen if you take a competitor's price, cut it by 10%, and then start selling. What if the competition has a bad pricing structure and is barely making money or even losing money? What if your costs are more than theirs? While it's a good idea to know your competitor's pricing structure and maybe even use it as a starting point, you shouldn't base your whole strategy on it. Different market sectors have their own variables as far as costs go, and you should be aware of them for your project or product pricing. What you pay for a product you are going to sell is not the only cost you have in your head when you're pricing your products. Considering how much your labor and materials cost for a service is only a part of an hourly rate. Employees also cost more than just salary, and not every employee is part of your labor cost. Every company has insurance to pay for. There are overhead expenditures, quality factors that need to be part of your pricing structure. What you include as standard services or standard product features, as well as job site etiquette or in store service or warranties, all need to go into your pricing. Not charging for all of your time and costs is a mistake most business owners will admit they made. For instance, let's say you run a service company. You can't just undercut your competitor's price to acquire the job. You have to ensure that your costs will be covered in your rates. Stores undermine themselves, for example, when they put more people on the floor for customer service but don't charge for it. These things cost you money, and when your competitors don't do them, it costs them less money. As a business owner, you need to believe that you're providing your clients worthwhile wares that deserve to be paid for. If you get a chance to explain why your prices are higher, then take the opportunity and do it. If they don't like the fact that you include things that others charge extra for later, or that you treat them better, then they are most likely completely price shoppers. You don't want them as regular customers anyway. Trust me. Not getting paid fast enough is another one that easily creates a cash flow problem. As long as you are actually making enough money to pay the bills, this problem can be solved, prevented, or at least managed. To avoid this, bill customers very promptly. After all, that's the reason you're doing the work, to get paid. Failure to have solid systems and procedures in place. Having no procedures and systems in place for tasks like billing, collections, payroll, interviewing, hiring, job responsibilities, manufacturing, operating equipment, maintaining equipment, and inventory procedures will help things run smoothly and reduce expenditures as well. spending too much advertising money without tracking the results. There is no point in a marketing campaign if you do not put things in place that allow you to measure how well the plan is working. Spreading yourself too thin is a classic mistake made by every entrepreneur. The key is to figure out when you are at that wearing too many hats point and start getting some help. Not getting help or waiting too long can kill a company. The three big issues people like to tackle themselves, but are usually the ones they are the least knowledgeable about, like legal issues, accounting, bookkeeping, and daily operations issues. Keeping an eye out for these potential problems is always a good idea. The end of a year is an excellent time to make sure you are not making these errors. Take the time or make the time to determine if you have issues to address. If you don't know how to stop or fix the mistakes, then find some help. The success of your business may depend on it. That's it for today's podcast. In your final podcast, we'll be talking about the importance of employing an internet marketing strategy for your small business. Thank you again for joining us on this podcast. Please go to mybusinessclub.biz for more information, strategies, and business coaching on starting and growing your global business.